Hello and welcome back to the Spots of Wisdom podcast. Sorry for the delay. We are on episode 12. I'm Shannon from Spotlight Dog.
And I'm Jade, and I run that dog based in Wrexham.
So today's episode is a bit of a follow-on from our last one. Our last one was all talking about Crufts. And we spoke to my dog's breeder about um her experience with it and how she finds it and so on and so forth. So we actually competed at Crest on the
Yeah.
7th of
Tell,
March.
tell everyone how you did in case they've not seen.
Yeah, in case you haven't seen, we came
Yeah.
fifth. We came fifth in Crest on our first ever Crest in Dalmatian Junior. So that was Bucky's fourth ever show and his first ever Crest. So he did very, very well, and I am very
Very
proud of
well.
him. I actually came out of the ring and started crying, and me and my team had a little cuddle and cry together just because we were so like proud of Bucky. So yeah,
Did
it was
so
cool.
well. I watched the live as you were stood there and just took it all in his stride. He was brilliant.
He was good as gold. I couldn't have faulted him for anything. Like I said it to you, didn't I? Like all I wanted was for him to stand still for that judge.
Yeah.
Anyone who follows us knows that Bucky can be a bit wary of people, not in a bad way, just new people. He's a bit like, oh, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Um, so that was all I cared about was that he stood still for the judge because I know he can trot up. And majority of the time I can get him to stand in his stack. So it was
Yeah.
just getting him to be okay with the judge, and he was flawless. Like I was so happy with how he handled it with the judge. Um, I couldn't have asked for any better, to be honest with you. Like getting in was a whole faff. We had issues with getting in, but the actual
So
competitive
yeah,
part was good.
talk us through the day. So like what time did you have to leave? What
Mm.
time did you get there? How long of a day did you have?
I got up at 4:15.
Yeah.
We left at 5. Well, 5:15 ish.
Yeah.
We got there about 7. So from Bristol to Birmingham, it was about a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Um, we sat and waited around for a bit to see if we could find any of the people that we were meant to be with, and we didn't. So we all
Yeah.
went in, got my family in, found Sarah, Bucky's breeder. Um, and then the issues that we were having was that obviously my team came with us, but in their own car. So I had to get them in on the tickets that I got. And as with anything, you've got different security guards, and the female security guard wouldn't let my girls in, but the man let us and my family in on the like you get an adult pass, but because
Yeah.
I was competing, I got it cheaper. Um,
Okay.
the men let us all in, but the woman wouldn't let them in. So she let one of them in, and then told the
Yeah.
other one that she has to wait until 8 o'clock. And we're like, well, we're in the ring at like 8ish, so if the queues
Yeah.
wait, you
Thing.
might miss
Yeah.
it. So we did cheat a little bit, and we waited until the woman wasn't looking and just ran through with the men again. Um, and got her in, but we had tickets, so it makes no odds. It's not like we didn't pay or anything, but it was one of those. So yeah, we got in, we got him ready. I think we were the fourth class in.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he did very well. We did his class, put him back in his crate, watched his brother's class, and there was a few
Yeah.
obviously from his breeder. We watched a couple of those, and then the bit of a crappy thing is that if you're competing, you're not allowed to leave until 4 o'clock. So we got there at 7 and we weren't allowed to
Yeah.
leave until 4. So we had to
Long
make
time
up.
for the dogs as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just
And Bucky did
that.
great. Like he did really well in his crate for most of the day. Obviously we took him out and they have like they're like kennels full of sawdust.
Yeah.
For them to go
Yeah.
to the toilet in and stuff. And he did that, and we took him around some of the shops. The downstairs he was fine that we took him around, but the minute we tried to take him upstairs, he wasn't having it. That was too busy, and that was fair enough. It was like he's probably really tired
Yeah.
by that point.
I've said this to so many people, and I think until you've gone, you genuinely without sounding awful, don't have a clue of
No.
genuinely how busy it is.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, I was expecting it to be busy, but it is, there's points where you
Yeah.
literally are crammed in and you
Yeah.
can't move. Yeah.
And it was one of those, to be honest with you, even I don't think I'd take a dog to go shopping. Like I know like my two aren't the most confident in the world, but
Yeah.
when you do go into that bit of where it's really busy, so like when we went upstairs towards like the discovered dogs and all of the shopping
Yeah.
bit, it was literally toe to toe. It was rammed, and like we tried it, and he just wasn't having it. So I just took him back. We left him with my breeder and just had a quick wander around the shops, and we all just took turns like sitting with him and having a
Yeah.
wander. And yeah, I think even the world's most confident dog could have issues wandering around it, to be honest with you, because it
100%.
is so busy. Like you're better off if you're lucky enough that you're not in the ring first like I was, I
Yeah.
would do your shopping early. Like if you're competing and you're showing, if you're not showing first, get your shopping done early before the crowds get in, and then
Yeah.
do what you got to do. And obviously if you want to pop back to shops later, you can. It's just if you're anyone claustrophobic, it's not the place for you. And it's yeah, one of those little dogs. I probably wouldn't take the dogs round to the stalls as much as I
Yeah.
thought I would, to be honest with you.
No, it is. It's absolutely mental there. It's so busy. So, with that in mind, then, did you see, just with you talking about your dogs, did you see dogs that maybe shouldn't have been in that environment being put into that environment?
Yeah, so obviously we had the conversation last time with Sarah about like how you do get reactive dogs at shows and stuff. Um, Other than dogs in their kennels, I didn't actually see any walking around who had reactions, which was good.
Yeah.
I'm not to say that it didn't happen because I've seen
Yeah.
posts. I personally didn't see any reactions outside of their kennels. Like where we were sat, obviously you just get rows and rows of Dalmatians. There was
Yeah.
a dog 2 or 3 crates down where all he did all day was growl while he was in a
Oh,
crate. So
yeah.
obviously he wasn't very happy about um dogs walking past this crate. And I get that obviously, like Sarah was saying, as long as they don't react in the ring, then the judge can't judge them outside, really.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bucky. Um, but my point is having a reactive dog, my point still stands. And obviously, I know Woody's not KC, so he isn't a true example of like
Yeah.
breed standard and all that. But even
Yeah.
if he was, I wouldn't take them to that environment because one, not only are you putting your dog in a position where they are likely to react, they're probably going to be stressed. But
Hmm.
if your goal as a breeder or part of a breeder set, so like us with Capuana, um, you're not showing the best breed lines. So I don't see the point. Right, okay, your dog like might look pretty and it might be the perfect picture of a Dalmatian, but as soon as that temperament isn't foot perfect, not foot perfect, but as soon as there's any reactive tendencies, it's not a prime example or a good example of a Dalmatian. So I don't think,
Uh, There was an example, wasn't there, with you saying that? I don't know if you've seen it. There was a rough collie in one of the groups, and she, I can't remember which it was. I think it was she. She won her breed group and
yeah,
obviously got taken through to like the main arena. And as she was being handled by the judge, she has snapped at him multiple times. And even though, so when she was winning her group, what happened was she was handled by the judge, and as the judge has walked away, she's gone to have a nip at him as he's
yeah,
walked off.
but because he's
Um,
already done his, but
so she got
technically,
put through to the final. Yeah.
technically she's reacted in the ring, so she shouldn't even have got anywhere. Like if you're gonna
Because then she
go,
went on the same thing again in
yeah,
the next.
if you
Yeah.
no, if you're gonna go with how showing is, they're not allowed to react in the ring. If they do it outside and the judge doesn't see it, then there's no proof of it.
Yeah.
But the minute they react in the ring, that should be it. God done. Like, and it might not like in that example. Obviously, you think of it as a trainer. Like, who's to say that dog's not in severe pain then? If
Yeah.
she's reacting to a judge, which most that's the one thing a show dog shouldn't do is react to a human, because they have to
Yeah.
be seen over. So if she's reacting in the ring, then surely there's something going on there. Which again,
Yeah.
why are you showing a dog that's either in pain or possibly injured or might be like
Yeah.
genetically lame or something like that? Like that, there's just
There was an issue with the whippet that won, wasn't there? Because as you're saying, if you're showing a dog, your dog should enjoy it. Your dog
yeah,
should enjoy that experience. And there were so many clips taken of the whippet that won.
yeah, and the
Luckily,
ears are tucked, tails are
it
tucked,
was
and
terrible.
I know a lot of like whippets and stuff, they do tend to carry themselves that way, but that is generally because the breed are just scared of life, to be honest with you, because it's just the way that they are. Um, and like if you look at the pictures of Bucky, like when he's in his stats, he doesn't hold his tail up. But if
Yeah,
I stand here and train him, it's not tucked under, it's just down. If I
yeah.
stand here and train him at home, he does the same thing. And I think what I've done is that when I train him, so I get him to focus on my hand. I have my treat here.
Hmm.
Like scent work,
Yeah,
they they have to freeze. He freezes on my hand, but what he does is his whole body freezes. So
yeah,
rather than focusing on my hand and having a waggy tail, he focuses on my hand and his tail just stays where it is.
yeah,
Um, but because he just goes into full body freeze, so for him, it's not that he's scared, but then the rest of his body is relaxed. His ears are in the correct place. They're not like backwards. He hasn't got like his bum tucked under or anything. Whereas obviously, like, pardon me, like you said with that whippet, it had all of the signs. It had weight eye, it had his ears tucked back, it had his tail tucked under, like all of it. And then I've seen a video or a TikTok or something of another dog trainer that was commenting on it actually. And obviously the whippet won, and he was
yeah,
doing his ring at the whatever Ring of Honor or whatever it's called, and he was still correcting him as he
yeah,
went round.
yeah.
And I know, like,
Your time I saw it. Yeah,
he's like, if you watch Bucky's run, I don't, I don't use the lead like technically. It goes around his neck. Well, dog's just fallen off bed. It goes around his neck where it's meant to go, but
yeah,
I don't use it. It doesn't move. It stays where it is. It doesn't get yanked. It doesn't get moved. Like I'll pull it up because obviously the same with slip leads. It's meant to go up here, isn't it? So it's meant to go, for those who are on Spotify, it's meant to go literally up behind their jawline and up
yeah,
behind their ears. But for showing, the whole point of that is that so you can see the dog's body. So you can see his neck and his true form. Essentially, because it's behind their jaw and up behind their ears, it's in a crevice,
yeah,
so it doesn't affect their body conformation. So when I run around with Bucky, I'm not jolting, I'm not pulling. I hold it upwards so it's out of the way,
yeah,
but there's no tension on that lead. He's not being told what to do with that lead. Whereas with, like we said, the whippet, he was like jolting it
yeah,
and essentially telling the dog what to do with it. Whereas if you're training your dog properly, and this was one of my things when it came to if I did showing, is I wanted a dog who complies the wrong word, but he did it because he was trained to do it, not because he was forced to do it. We're back. We had a bit of technical difficulties, but we are back. Um, so yeah, obviously, like we've seen, he was kind of not correcting, but constantly jolting the lead as we went on. Um, we are back. We have had some technical difficulties, but we are here. So let's move on from that. Um, any questions?
So obviously you were there until what, 4 o'clock? Four, half four?
Yeah.
What did you do with him the day after? Because I imagine he'd have been absolutely wiped out.
What did I do on your Saturday? I can't imagine a lot. Normally, to be honest with you, he's wiped out for like a week after any
Yeah,
shows because obviously it's a long
yeah,
day. So probably just my memory's not that great to be honest with you. It would probably been a decompression day. So um, probably nothing. In all honesty, they
probably.
would have had some garden time, lots of sleeping.
Yeah,
I feed my dogs in slow feeders for every meal, so they get that enrichment anyway. And then
Yeah.
they probably would have had some. We've got. I just where's it gone? Here you go. Hold on, wait a minute. We got some new toys. A little rocket.
Yes. That's
In which
cute.
you put your treats in there, which you can see the treats are in there. We've got two, but I
Oh,
don't
I
know where the
love
other one
it.
is. So we got this one from the Spoiled Doggo. We got two of them. They had a
Yeah.
nice little deal on. I think it was 3 for 2. Yeah, was it 3 for 2? Yeah. So we got this one. We've got one which is in the shape of an alien, and then we got like a
Yeah.
slow feeder bowl thing. So they've been getting this most days now. Hence we can see there's a nose there and there's a nose here because they like it. So they probably would have got some mental enrichment, rather than
Yeah.
anything physical because it was a long day for him. Woody would have gone out. Obviously, we had
Yeah.
a dog walker come in for him like 3 or 4 times across the day and play with him. So he didn't have nothing,
Yeah.
but um, he didn't have a proper walk. So Woody would have got a walk, but I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have done a lot with Bucky. If we did, it probably been around the block. If anything, but yeah, it's a long, long day. Um,
Long day. So with you having to show him and
yeah.
stuff, did you do as much shopping as you had planned to? Did you spend
Ah,
lots of money?
no, I went to Crufts with no
No.
money. Like I think I had about
I
£100
think
on me, if
when I
that.
went, I don't think I spent anything. Yeah.
So I was very
You just
limited.
get distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
they
get
had some
distracted and
great
it's so
stalls.
busy that you just, yeah.
Like it was one of those, like,
Did you
so what was that?
did you have any favorites?
There was some really cool. So there was a stall called, I think it was Performance Dog.
Yeah.
They're a bit like
Oh
Tug
yeah.
and Us.
Yeah.
They're a little bit like Tug and Us with some of the
Mhm.
stuff that they had. Um, Problem was literally the day before Crafts, I got a whole box of Tug and Us delivered.
Oh,
So I wasn't allowed to buy any more toys
oh
because
no.
obviously they literally had a whole box delivered. So we did buy quite a
Yeah.
few treats. That Spoiled Doggo did some, like, I don't know if they're deli
Yeah.
friendly, so I will admit that. But we had some flounders, like frozen fish. They're about
Okay. Yeah.
this big. Um, I
Yeah.
I don't know if they're oily fish or not, so I don't know technically if they're meant to our two are meant to have them. But as a one-off, who cares?
Mhm.
You know what we know what we're
Yeah.
like. Um,
Yeah.
and then they did. I don't have them over here. I'm really weird with it. They do the different flavor yak stews.
Oh yeah.
So we got the
Do they eat them?
blueberry.
Mine
Yeah,
are always really fussy. Yeah.
Bucky eat anything, to be honest with you. So we got the mint flavor and the blueberry flavor. He really likes the blueberry one. The mint less so.
Yeah.
Um, but the
Okay.
blueberries demolished, and these were the extra large ones, so they're about that big, like thickness wise as well.
Yeah.
About that big, probably 6 or 7 inches long. So a woman 6 or 7 inches while we talk about it. So it's big. And then
Yeah.
they also, it's a different stall, but they did like super sized ones. And I'm not even joking, it was about a foot long and it was about that
Yeah.
thick. It was I'm not paying 20 quid for a yak stew,
Wow.
but it was
No.
absolutely huge. Like I was tempted, but the voice of reason had to tell me not to do it. What else did we get? We didn't get a lot. It was mostly treats. We went round and tried to get what freebies we could, as you do with things like that.
Yeah.
And played some of the games. Like a lot of stalls had games where like you'd win like a pen or something. But it's one of those
Oh, okay.
in
Yeah.
those environments you do, don't you? It's just part of the fun of the
You
day.
do. Yeah. Hmm.
There's a few stalls that I missed that I wanted to see. So there's a new company called Waiter Pet,
Yeah.
WAITA, and they do some funky dog treats. So they do like quail's eggs, freeze dried quail's eggs and stuff like that.
Oh,
Which look
yes.
really
Oh,
interesting.
I
And
love stuff like
freeze dried dog treats. Um, I do follow them on
yeah.
Instagram, so I will buy some of them at some point. But I was meant to try and find them, and I didn't. Yeah, there's loads of stalls and stuff. I know some of the girls that because obviously there was probably about 20 of us all together with my family, the girls who I work
Yeah.
with, Brokey's brother and her family and stuff. Um, one of the girls I work with, you would have liked it. She got her dog a dinosaur jumper. So she got
Oh,
the,
yeah, I've
yeah,
seen them.
she got one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else? Yeah, I mostly came away with treats, to be honest with you. I didn't buy too much. We did, in hindsight, I said to my mum we should have bought a pair of professional clippers because obviously mum's dogs are curly, excuse me, curly
Yes.
coated.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think of it on the day we should have bought some because I do my mum's dog's grooming.
I
So
think you just get distracted, don't you? So I've had
yeah,
people that go and they're very organized and they write down lists of all the stores they want to go to and like where they need to go to get
yeah.
to them. It's
Well,
just so busy and there's
yeah.
so much going on.
We
Yeah.
probably are aiming to go again next year, obviously, if we qualify. If we don't, then I might just still go for the day anyway, um, shopping more so. But yeah, it was, to be honest with you, it was probably quite nice that I didn't have a lot of money to spend on our first year because it will get like quite overwhelming. And it's one of those as well. You've got a shitload to carry back to the car and all that, regardless. Like, obviously, you've got to take the dog
Yeah.
back, got the crate and all the bits that we got in between and food bags and like it is a lot. And if anyone's been to the NEC before, um, it's a long walk, regardless of where you park. It's a
It
very
is.
long walk.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm not one of those show people that have got a cart or a trolley yet, and it is on my list to buy. But yeah, there's a lot to do to have to carry a crate big enough for a Dalmatian all the way
Yeah.
from the car park onwards. So yeah, it's probably good this year that we didn't. But like I don't think I'll take him, but we're going to badminton horse trials in May. And that's the same sort of thing. Like the car park's really far away, and you've got to prepare yourself for if you're going to spend a lot of money that you need something
Yeah.
to carry it all back with, or prepare yourself for multiple trips back to the car and stuff like that. And
I did it
yeah,
with Dogfest. I went to
yeah,
Dogfest and bought a massive dog bed, like a huge dog. And then you've got all these bags of freebies. I had my dog with me, and I've got to carry this massive,
yeah,
huge dog bed. And again, the car park's really far
yeah.
away. So then you'd like across. Oh yeah, it wasn't very well
Which one do
planned. I
you
didn't
go
think.
to?
Tatton Park.
Yeah. So for me, we have one in Bristol, and
Oh
is
right,
is
yeah.
where I do a lot of my dog training sessions and where we go on our dog walks. So it is normally at Ashton. There was one year they didn't have it, so I didn't go. But it's at Ashton Court. And to be fair, because Ashton Court is so big, like they fence off
Hmm.
one of their fields and use that for parking. And it's not too far of a walk away from where they put the actual stalls
Yeah,
and stuff. So that's not so bad when it comes to dog fest for us. But obviously NEC is massive and the parking is like it's like an airport, isn't it? Like it's so far away.
yeah.
So that was a lot on itself. And I helped Sarah on the way back take all of what like she's got like 5 dogs that she competed, so she's got to walk 5 dogs back to the car. So I had her trolley with about 6 crates on top and was trying to control that. Well, Jamie had my
Oh,
dog and it
bless
was
her.
like it was a lot. It's a lot. But it's one of those. It's definitely a nice experience, and I think even if you're not a competitor, it is worth a go. I've even
Yeah,
had friends be like dog trainer friends, but what did you think of it? Because like from what not they know, but from what they've seen and stuff, like is it what you think it is? Like is there a flaw? Of course
yeah,
there's flaws. There's all of it there is. Like at the end of the day, it depends whether you agree with dog breeding or if you agree with dog showing and stuff like that. And actually
yeah,
being able to do it myself when you see it all, it is again, it's the same with any sort of dog training in that it depends on how you view things and what you want to do. If you're force free, if you're
yeah,
balanced, and it all comes down to the same thing. In just because I'm showing my dog doesn't mean that I'm the same as everyone else out there. Like I said to you, like my whole idea when I got Bucky into showing is that I'm gonna have a dog that does it because he's trained to do it, and that like I'm not forcing him into doing it. He's doing it because he wants to do it. Um, so I'm not gonna drag my dog around the ring. My dog's gonna want to trot next to me, and that is just how I've trained to do it. So I think the same with anything in the dog industry. There's going to be controversy around it. And like I said to you, like, there's reactive dogs there, and there shouldn't be reactive dogs there. It is one of those, it is all based on opinion and what you think at the end of the day. Is not just, there is
I'm going to
no,
say the same thing.
yeah,
You see it in whichever dog sport you're taking part in,
yeah,
don't you? Whether that's showing or agility or obedience or whatever else. Like there's always going to be those few doing things that you don't agree with.
yeah,
Um, it's like going back to the handling thing, isn't it?
yeah,
So you have people, like you've said, who just use the lead there, just not as a tool, it's just
yeah,
there.
it's there, yeah,
Yeah. And then you have people that are very heavy with the
yeah,
correcting, and then you end up then with the trainer arguments because you
yeah,
get the aversive and the trainers going, well, what's the difference between you lead correcting in that way
yeah,
and me lead correcting in a training scenario? Like, what's the difference? But again, it's just you always get those people that do that regardless of the sport.
yeah,
It's like that lady that was handling the Jack Russell. That's been
yeah.
called
And she
into
lifted it by
question
the
if you've
tail.
seen
Yeah,
that.
that I get,
Did a
because
dog off the table by the tail.
while I don't think she's done it as a sense of cruelty, it's not right. Like, you don't
No.
lift the dog up by the tail at the end of the day. And to be honest with
But then,
you,
but then, yeah,
I feel like if I was the judge there and then, I would have told her to get out of the ring. You don't let it
a
carry
lot of people have
on.
said that. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people said that. So I saw the comments and they were split down the middle. So 50% of them were like, the judge saw her handling like that. It's
Hmm.
not in the rules. You're not allowed to handle like that. She should have been asked to leave.
Straight out,
And then
yeah.
I've seen 50% of other comments that are like, well, Jack Russells were bred to go down holes and, they'd be pulled out by their tails when they were doing that job. It doesn't hurt them. It's not a problem. And there was just this very clear 50-50 divide of what people's opinions were of it.
But the thing is, like, right, okay, so they were bred to go down holes, and unfortunately, you have to pull it out by his tail. That's still a working dog. And actually, you'll see it
Yeah.
all over TikTok, all over Facebook, on the argument on a Jack Russell in general, not about the handling, but how, like, Jack Russells weren't
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
established breed until 2016, because of this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, they're show Jack Russells. They're never going to be shoved down a hole to chase a rat. So that dog, that
No.
single dog hasn't experienced, ideally, hasn't experienced
Yeah.
having to be lifted up by its tail or dragged out of a
Yeah.
hole by its tail, because that's not what it does. And at the end of the day, what
Yeah.
people do, if you've got ratters, if you've got hair coursers, which obviously we know is illegal, but it happens, you've got
Yeah.
gun dogs, they are unfortunately subjected to things that most people won't agree with, but
Mhm.
that's not those show dogs. Unless you've got the ones
Yeah.
that are
Completely,
competing
completely
in the gun
different.
dog
Yeah.
trials, the show dogs, the ones that are prancing around the ring looking all pretty, realistically aren't subjected to that. So, regardless
You see
of the
all sorts,
last
don't you?
argument,
Yeah.
it's
No, I
not.
agree. You see lots of dogs in Crufts, again, which is going to be a whole other argument, that would never be able to do the job that they were bred to do. So you
No.
see loads of show labs that are as overweight as
Yeah.
anything, and you're like, you'd never be able to do a
Yeah.
retrieve in a field. Like
And
you don't
yeah,
have the
this
capacity.
is, we've had this, not argument, but this discussion with obviously Tony that works for me, because she's got a fox red lab, and she says,
Yeah.
like, he's KC, she could go, he won't place because he's fit. Like, that's not what
Yeah.
they want. They want an
Yeah.
overweight, not, they're not going to class him as
Mhm.
overweight, but that is the ones that they go for, is the overweight fat labs. That's
Yeah.
just how it is. But it's no
100%.
different
Yeah.
in equine showing. I know personally someone whose horse gets very well placed in her shows, and that horse is morbidly obese.
Yeah.
It's no different from wherever
Oh,
it is. It's just called show condition. That's the phrase they
yeah.
put on it. It is show condition.
Yeah. No,
And
100%, 100%. They're bred for two completely different purposes.
yeah,
And exactly as you've just said, the show ones would be no good out and about doing what they were bred for, and the ones that are doing the job would do horrifically
yeah,
in the show competition.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely obviously like we said, when it comes to anything like that, there's always going to be controversy. There's never going to be a final agreement. Unfortunately, that when it comes to animals, there is always going
Yeah.
to be a difference in opinion, and it is what it is. There's nothing's ever going to change.
Oh,
That is just how life
yeah.
is, unfortunately. Um,
Never going to get a position where everybody
no,
agrees on it. It's not going to happen ever.
no, definitely not. But it's fine. It is what it
No.
is. As an overall, though, like I said, I'd recommend people give Crufts a go. Like even just going
Yeah.
to buy things, I would say yes, because
Yeah.
I mean you'd have to take some money with you ideally. If you're just going for shopping, have a wallet full.
Yeah.
Um I don't think if I had no money and I wasn't showing, I don't see the point in going. Like as a dog trainer, I know what dog breeds are out there. I don't need to go into the discover
Yeah.
dog bit. That doesn't really matter
Yeah.
to me. So
I
I'm not
think a
gonna
few
want
people I
yeah.
know went and they didn't. I don't know. I think a few people I went that I know, sorry, that went. I think they were expecting different things based on the different days. So,
Right.
like if it was Gun Dog Day, they were expecting more of a gun dog theme in general throughout the rest of the halls, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the problem, so I've looked at different things and like different stores have posted on this. Like people pay up to 10 grand to have a stall there. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it would be physically possible in in order for someone to set up their store on say on it starts on Wednesday, doesn't it? Start their store on a Wednesday, do the day of work, close it down, and then have someone ready for the next day. Because obviously
Yeah,
it starts at eight
it's not.
o'clock.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
starts, people, the public can come in at 8 o'clock, while us showing can come
Mhm.
in from 6. So at what point would that stall set up?
Yeah.
It's just not feasible. Like it's not feasible. It's, again, the same like what I said before. It's similar to things like badminton horse trials, and that you're there for the whole week or you're not at all, kind of thing, because
Yeah.
it is too much hassle for everyone involved to set up and not set up. And to be honest with you, there's enough stalls about in a mix to kind of suit everyone. Like you've got all the toys, you've got all the food. Like I don't really know what more. 2 seconds. A dog like you could really do to make it specific to gun dog training. Like what you're gonna do, have all like this kind of plays into it. So what I've just taken off the dog is a rabbit skin tennis ball.
Yes.
So I bought
Yeah.
that across and they love it. But Woody likes to shred toys. Um, so other than having a stall that does like the dummies or one of these,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
split leads, what else are you gonna get that
Yeah.
suits Gundog Day? Because thank you, Bucky. Um, to be honest, Gundog stuff is minimal, isn't it? That's the whole point. You send the dog off into the
Yeah.
bush, go
Yeah.
and retrieve whatever it is they're retrieving. Um,
Yeah.
and you use a whistle, you use a slip lead. They might get a ball as a reward. I doubt it, but they might get a ball as a reward after. So there's not actually a lot you can do that's going to suit that crowd. So what's the point? And like you've got all the grooming stuff. There's plenty of stalls for shampoos. There's plenty of stalls for clippers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that suits everyone, regardless. Like every dog should get baths at some point, regardless if they're a poodle or a Labrador or what. Like I,
Yeah.
there's not really a way. I
When
don't
I
think.
went, I think they had big cars when I went, if I remember rightly, with professional van fitters with all the crates
Yeah.
and all
So
that kind of stuff going.
I don't know the company that was there. I didn't go in all of the halls. I only went in the one we were in and then the one up around the edge. But the only
Yeah.
reason we noticed it was because the car brand or the car that they had there was the same brand as what my other half has. And it's quite a niche brand. So we're like,
Yeah.
oh, look at that car. But it wasn't the car brand that was there. It was the crate company. so knew how
Yeah.
they could fit it in that car, which again is a very niche thing because these cars aren't very
Yeah.
common. Um, but again, you get that at like Badminton. Badminton, I think now are they now? They either now or were sponsored by Mitsubishi. So you'll get like 15 Mitsubishi cars across the place and stuff like
Yes.
that. But then NEC is a bit different. Like
Yeah.
it's big, but there's not enough room to keep putting cars in, that sort of thing. So yeah, there is a mix. You've got a lot of stuff going on there. I do need to do
Yeah.
if I go
I'd
next year,
like
I
to
do
go
need
in.
to do some more exploring.
Yeah. No, I've only been on a Saturday and it's absolutely mental on a Saturday. And I think if
Yeah,
you go on a Saturday, if this makes sense, you go for more the experience of it all. So you go and
yeah,
you watch and wander around. I think if you were to go, you really wanted to do your shopping and you really wanted to spend some money,
go on a quiet day.
probably go.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think next year, by the sounds of it, Dalmatians are on the Saturday, which is
Yeah.
fun. So we're gonna have to deal with that, but never
Although
mind.
I'm gonna try and go next year. So it being on a Saturday might actually work.
That's fine. You can come
Right.
and meet Buckaroo, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
fine. So yeah, right. I think we should probably leave it there for this episode. So thank you all for
Yeah.
following and listening. As always, like, subscribe, share. We will hopefully get another episode out next week.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for following. See you
No,
later.
thank you. Bye bye.